Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Join the Patreon to vote for the character you want to see next, and like and subscribe for better one-liners next time you play. Maybe. Today we're building Luke Hobbs, who, as of the recording of this video, has been officially retired from the Fast franchise. But that just puts Hobbs' story in your hands in your D&D campaign. Hobbs and Shaw is no more. Now it can be Hobbs/Shaw.
Even though you ain't mine, I promise the way we fight make me honestly feel.
Let's start off with our goals for this build. First, we need some rock hard muscles, getting so super jacked that you become indestructible. Next, those muscles need to rock our foes, with some rattling battling that lets you pulverize people with your cultivated mass. Finally, we need to be a steady leader, a solid shoulder for your team to lean on, like their stone guy. For stats, we'll be using the standard point buy from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just keep your multi-classing minimums in mind. Strength and constitution at 15. Hobbs is played by Dwayne Johnson, not Michael Cera, although if they're looking to recast him and they just went with Michael Cera and never mentioned it, I'd watch that movie every day for the rest of my life. Dexterity next at 11, which is kind of low, but sometimes Hobbs uses guns in his hands instead of the guns extending from his shoulders. And everything else at 10. Tracking, investigating, and good old-fashioned charming aren't things you're bad at, they're just not as impressive as your man slam in action. Despite Luke's massive size and resistance, he's not a Goliath. He's a human, and variant humans get a feat like Crusher, which adds 1 to your strength, lets you push creatures 5 feet once per turn when you deal bludgeoning damage to them, and when you critically hit someone with an attack, everyone attacking them has advantage until the start of your next turn. Unarmed attacks deal bludgeoning damage. So all of these buffs come from one of your punches. Bump your dexterity and constitution with your 2 free points, grab survival for your skill of choice to track down patties, and build your own background for persuasion and investigation. Soldier would be fitting for your special ability, but we can get those skills from the starting class. That starting class is Fighter. For something we need even more than athletics and perception, although we do need those skills. Grab those skills definitely. But we need unhaired fighting to fight unhaired, dealing 1d8 with 2 free hands, 1d6 with 1 free hand, and 1d4 to a creature you have grappled once per turn. If you're bald and fast and the furious, you hit harder. It's just a fact. Second Wind lets you heal 1d10 plus your fighter level as a bonus action once per short rest, so you can heal yourself enough to flex out of a cast. That's how bones work. Just muscle enough, and you don't need no bones no more. Second level fighters get an action surge, letting you make 2 actions in 1 turn once per short rest, so you can punch as fast as the scrawny Jason Statham. Only next to The Rock does Jason Statham look scrawny. Third level fighters can choose a martial archetype. Battle masters are the best at leading the team thanks to their maneuvers. 3 of them you can spend 4d8 superiority die on. Tactical assessment lets you add a superiority die to an investigation, history, or insight check. Commanding presence does the same thing for intimidation, persuasion, or performance. If you're too hard to invest in soft stats, just roll a d8. Finally, Commander Strike lets you use your bonus action to give another creature an attack as an action, adding your superiority die to the damage. Give it to Calvin so he can hit harder. He is just a kid after all. Credit to Cindy from the Barbrarian Discord for reminding me to make a Calvin and Hobbes joke. Can't believe I almost missed that one. Now, those are some great leadership abilities, but the only way to go undefeated is using Student of War to get calligraphy tools. 4th level fighters get an ability score improvement, and we don't really need many feats, so bump your strength to beat Vin Diesel in a fist fight. Well, to tie Vin Diesel in a fist fight. They always just tie. 5th level fighters get an extra attack, letting you make 2 attacks with your action instead of 1, or 4 with an action surge if you want to open an entire can of whoop-ass. Personally, I switched to diet whoop-ass. I'm just not into drinking my calories anymore. That means more cookies. 6th level fighters get another ability score improvement to cap off your strength and punch harder than any of the fast crew, although I do have some ideas to make you punch even harder. That's by jumping over to Barbarian, where you can enter a rage, giving you advantage on strength checks and saves, resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, and an extra damage on your strength-based attacks. Those benefits last for a minute, and feel free to add all your superiority die in there as well. You also get unhaired defense, making your AC 10 plus your dexterity and constitution modifier when you're not wearing armor. Sometimes Hobbs wears a flak jacket, but barbarians actually don't mind armor as much as monks do. You can still rage. I'll point out, mid-fight against Dom, he does take off the flak jacket to fight better. More like Rock Lee, am I right? A reference I can make even though I haven't seen Naruto yet, because it's just that iconic. Still, it's a reckless move. Maybe that's why second level barbarians get reckless attacks, letting you make your attacks with advantage if you don't mind giving your enemy advantage on attacks against you. That will effectively double your chances to roll a critical hit, and superiority die double with crits as well, so these are going to be some meaty punches. Once we get maneuvers that we can use on our punches instead of giving them to the team, you also get Danger Sense, giving you advantage on dexterity saving throws against spells and traps you can see. Hobbs gets blown up by a grenade, drops out a 5-story building, catches his partner, and pancakes an SUV. Then he has a broken arm that he flexes to heal. If you haven't seen the Fast and the Furious films, what the heck are you doing? They're amazing. Third level barbarians get to choose a primal path. Bear totem barbarians get to resist every type of damage except for psychic while they're raging, making you even more ridiculously impervious to damage than you already were. You can also grab an extra skill from the barbarian list here, like intimidation, to put the fear of God into your enemies. Fourth level barbarians get another ability score improvement. We're going to go for dexterity over constitution since you've already got ways to resist damage, and we need to be a little bit better with our guns. That extra dex will also help with your unarmored defense, so it's offensive and defensive. That's great strategy. The best strategy though is to know your enemy before you fight them, which you can do if you jump back to the 7th level of Battlemaster for the ability Know Your Enemy. That lets you know a creature's HP, AC, fighter levels, total levels, strength, dexterity, or constitution scores, 2 pieces of information for every 1 minute of study, and you know if you're better than, worse than, or equal to them in those regards. I'd imagine you're going after professional runners. They like speed and are guaranteed to go down the hardest possible way, so make sure you've got your Funderwear on. Find them, take them as a team, and bring them back, and above all else, don't ever let them get into cars. But you could get into pushing attack, letting you force a strength saving throw on a creature you hit with an attack, pushing them 15 feet if they fail, and sending them on a one-way trip to Detroit. That's the Rock City. You get to add your D8 superiority die to the damage. Disarming Strike lets you force a strength saving throw on a creature you hit with an attack. Failing that, they drop something they're holding, so you can pick it up instead. Despite your powerful unhaired fighting styles, weapons are pretty good. This also adds a D8 to the damage. And you get a 5th D8 for all your trouble. 8th level fighters get another ability score improvement. Keep pushing your dexterity higher to aim down those sights. Unfortunately, despite how magical the fast heroes are, they cannot fly. Helicopters will provide a little trouble if you don't have 4 cars to automobile centipede together to fight them. You're gonna need to use a gun. 9th level fighters get Indomitable, letting you re-roll 1 failed saving throw once per long rest. Using it with Danger Sense is pretty good, since that will give you advantage on the re-roll as well. 10th level Battlemasters get improved combat superiority, bumping your superiority die to D10s. Save those for critical hits, and you're gonna really drain your enemies of their health. I'm not just doing rock puns anymore. There's untouched potential in the Dwayne vein. For your 2 maneuvers, Menacing Attack lets you force a wisdom saving throw on a creature. Failing that, they're frightened of you until the start of your next turn. It's pretty stressful when you smell what the rock is cooking. Lunging Attack lets you make a melee weapon attack with 5 extra feet of reach. You can use this on unarmed attacks, and it doesn't have to make you do Mr. Stretchy, Mr. Fantastic arms. You can just be like really tall. Add superiority die to the damage of both maneuvers. 11th level fighters get another extra attack for 3 with your action, 6 with an action surge, and all can be made with advantage thanks to reckless attack, and all will add 2 extra rage damage. People often say that the fighter class makes a better monk than the monk class just because of extra attacks and ability score improvements, but those work on any mad class, multi-ability dependent. Barbarians that are actually mostly fighters definitely can contend with a monoclassed barbarian. 12th level fighters get another ability score improvement. Keep going with that dexterity, so you'll now have 17 AC in whatever you're wearing, unless you're wearing heavy armor, but then you can't rage. Resistance to almost every kind of damage is probably worth it. 13th level fighters get another use of Indomitable. Keep in mind you can use these on death saving throws. Nobody in the past universe needs to stay dead. I thought Letty was kind of obvious, but Han, that guy got killed in 2 movies. I'm not complaining. They could have showed him falling into a wood chipper. I would still want my snacky boy back. 14th level fighters get another ability score improvement. Cap off your dexterity to shoot just as good as you punch. 15th level Battlemasters get Relentless, meaning if you roll initiative without any superiority die, you just get another one for free. Make sure you're using these. You get a 6th one here, and they recharge on short rests. They're really good and really fun, and nobody is going to put limited resources in the con section in a minute, I promise. Our capstone is the 16th level fighter. Instead of bumping your constitution for 20 HP and +1 more AC, grab the tough feat for 40 more HP, since your near impervious status as a bear barbarian will effectively make that +80 HP. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how viable this build is. First, you are massive with 228 HP that can basically be called 450 with the resistances from the bear tonub, and a respectable 18 AC thanks to unhaired defense. You're also pumping out the boo-boos with 3 attacks in a standard round and a bigger damage modifier from rage for consistency, and 6 attacks with an action surge to deal 6d8 + 6d10 + 42 damage if you drop all your superiority die, or around 102 with median rolls. Finally, you're a physical juggernaut with massive strength and dexterity dexterity scores to make muscle type challenges a breeze. For weaknesses, getting as big as you are means you're not very soft, and your soft stats are not very good. Saving throws for intelligence, wisdom, and charisma will be low even with Indomitable twice per long rest. You also don't have any magical damage. I'm sure your DM is going to give you a magical weapon, but if you just want to punch people, that's a little more difficult. Finally, you've got limited resources, with 6 superiority die possibly being spent in 1 round and only 3 minutes per day of rage. But I highly doubt anyone is going to make it past the first round, let alone 3 minutes in the ring with Hobbs. Flex, bash, and shrug off any damage that might come into play. Just watch out for someone a little more quick on the shaw. They could deck you pretty hard. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe for more. We make 2 videos every week. Join the Patreon to vote for the character you want to see next, and sub to Tulok and Mango for more Tulok fun.